If you want a stronger version of Born in Roma, then this is it right here. So let's review Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Extradose. Hey, what's good guys? Hunter here and welcome back to the channel where I upload weekly fragrance content, so you already know the drill. Hit that subscribe button down below so you can keep updated with the best fragrances, and be sure to follow me over on my Instagram page. But today, we are reviewing the brand new fragrance from Valentino, which is Born in Roma Extradose, guys. And I know Born in Roma has a cult following. People love the original, people love the Intense, which the Intense was my favorite. Might still be my favorite. You'll find out later if this one dethroned Intense for me. But this is hot off the shelves, guys. These designer fragrances are pumping them out left and right lately. So many new releases so far in 2025. But I'm excited to be reviewing this one because I'm a big fan of Valentino. I'm a big fan of the Born in Roma line as well. I have all three now. And I love the name Extradose. Instead of doing something like called Absolute or something called Elixir, Valentino went its own direction with the name Extradose, which I'm really digging. I also do want to shout out Valentino for sending this one over for review. Of course, I'm still going to keep it honest with you guys. If I enjoy it, I do, and if I don't, I don't. I'll make that clear. But let's go to some information now. Born in Roma Extradose was, of course, launched in 2025. It just recently hit the shelves at the time of this recording. For the retail price, only two sizes you can get this in. You can get a 50 ml for $125, or you can get the 100 ml like I have in hand for $165, which honestly isn't that bad when it comes to a highly concentrated designer fragrance, because most of the time like elixirs and stuff can range from like 200 to 250, so not too bad. Now with the concentration, it is of course an extrait de parfum, which means the highest of perfume oil is used in a particular fragrance. Because the original was of course an EDT, the Intense was a EDP, and this one is an extrait. The two perfumers behind Extradose is Gulan Flavny and Antoine Mason Dew, which are two really respected noses in the business, and you can definitely tell they put some effort in Extradose. Now with all the information out of the way, let's look at the packaging and presentation you get with this one now. So we're only going to be looking at the bottle today since unfortunately I don't have the box for this one, but the bottle does look very similar to the rest of the line. However, this one is much darker in color. It's almost like this dark black matte finish. Of course, Valentino, which I think might even be a little bit more pink compared to the other two. On the bottom, you do have your sticker with your information and batch code to authenticate your product and see when it was produced. Nothing on the back, nothing on top, and of course you have that Valentino studs all around, as well as the Valentino logo inside of the cap, and nothing on the atomizer, but it does click into place very securely. Probably my favorite Born in Roma bottle compared to the other two. In the top you have spices, in the mid you have lavender, and in the base you have woody notes, and this will be classified as a spicy sweet. And that note breakdown is very simplistic. So let's spray this and test out these atomizers. Honestly, not the best atomizer. Unfortunately, it's not pressurized, but it does spray a lot of juice at least. So let's remind myself of the brand new Born in Roma Extradose. So in the opening right away, I'm gonna get a burst of the spicy, peppery opening with Extradose, which goes in a complete different direction compared to the original and the Intense. It's extremely spicy and peppery right away. Almost maybe like some black pepper, maybe some cinnamon going on in there, maybe some licorice. It almost kind of reminds me a little bit of the opening from Sauvage Elixir, which I haven't seen anybody actually mention or talk about. And so of course, not a clone of Sauvage Elixir, just the spicy pepperiness from that particular fragrance you are gonna get in this opening as well. Extremely spicy, man. So if you're a fan of spicy fragrances, this is gonna be one you wanna check out, but if you're not, you might wanna kind of sway away from it because there's no getting around the spiciness in the opening from this. But for me personally, I love spices and it's really well done in the opening, thank goodness. I'm not getting any cumin spices because that would make me kind of hate it. Not a fan of cumin at all, but it's like all the good spices going on in Extradose. And then as we make our way into the mid, you are going to get that signature kind of soapy, aromatic lavender note. It's very, very soapy. It's the kind of same lavender you find in the original and Intense as well. But yeah, it definitely turns into a very soapy fragrances as the spices kind of dissipate. And honestly, it's not my favorite way lavender is done. I love my lavender to smell more on the fougere aromatic spicy side rather than that clean soapiness, but it's much more soapy than aromatic through and through in the mid. Then finally in the base is honestly my least favorite part and kind of takes a complete 180 compared to the top and mid, because it does kind of become a very generic and boring for my liking. Very linear and not much going on in the base. You're pretty much just left with this woodiness, which might be something like cedar wood in the base, and that's pretty much it, guys. Maybe a little bit of still of that lavender soapiness. You're not getting any of that punchy spices you get from the opening. That kind of disappears after a few hours, which was by far my favorite part about Extradose, was that opening and a little bit of that mid, but does start to get a little bit worse as it dries down, which is a bummer, because at the end of the day, you're pretty much left with the base notes about 75% of the longevity of a fragrance. The opening lasts maybe an hour or two, the mids last a little bit, the hearts of course, but as the base comes through, you're pretty much gonna be left with that for hours upon hours. So in my head, I always thought base notes should be probably one of the best transitions in the fragrance. I know the opening is what captivates people and gets them to buy the fragrance, especially at like department stores, but unfortunately they're very short-lived compared to like the base. And if the base sucks, honestly, it's not a good look, because at least in the base of the Intense, you did get that nice kind of spicy, creamy, warm vanilla note. In here, however, you're not gonna get any of that at all. It's no vanilla, no really that much sweetness going on, just kind of generic and woody, which is, like I said, a letdown. But hey, if you're the kind of guy that just enjoys the top notes, the mid notes, then this might still work for you. But if you're somebody that wants to enjoy the fragrance throughout the entire day and doesn't have to reapply it to get that nice kind of invigorating opening, then this honestly might not do it for you, because you're gonna have to reapply this one a lot to keep on enjoying it, at least for me. But hey, some of you guys out there might enjoy that kind of woody base that you're gonna get from this. It's just very basic and linear for my nose. I do like my fragrances to have a little bit of more character going on and a little bit more complex, but at the end of the day, not all fragrances have to be very complex. Sometimes simplistic kind of linear note breakdowns are good, but there's something about the base of this one that I'm just not really vibing with, to be honest. Especially coming from a parfum flanker, you kind of expect it to have more character, have more depth, have a little bit more going on. And unfortunately, it just doesn't really have that. It doesn't really scratch that itch for me personally, being a fragrance enthusiast and have smelled thousands of fragrances. But hey, the opening is pretty decent at least. So I think I prefer it over the original, but I still think Intense is my favorite Born in Roma. Now for the best seasons to rock Extradose, I'm primarily gonna wear this one in the springtime when it's kind of breezy outside, you have a little bit of that sunshine coming on, everything's growing, but also definitely during the fall and winter. It's a little bit more deeper and dark compared to like the original, especially having like a little bit of that metallic mineral note going on in that one. So it's not really gonna be a summertime fragrance for me. No aquatic notes, no citruses in here, nothing like that, just spicy, soapy, and woody. Not a fragrance I would recommend as a signature scent, at least for like all 4 seasons. And when it comes to occasion, this is definitely, like without a doubt, a very casual, fun, playful fragrance. It doesn't smell expensive. It doesn't really smell luxurious or sophisticated where you want to wear it as a dress and up, like a suit, a tuxedo, etc. Maybe going to a nice event, a wedding, a nice dinner date. It doesn't really give me that vibe. Kind of gives me a vibe of just like throwing on a hoodie, throwing on some jeans, maybe some boots, going out shopping. That's the vibe that this gives off. Kind of like a casual dumb reach fragrance is what this will probably be for me personally in my collection, because there's no way I'm wearing this one to be formal, because I have so many far better fragrances suited for that. Now when it comes to gender, this is definitely a more masculine leaning fragrance compared to like being unisex or feminine. It's not really something I would want to smell on my lady, at least. I just don't want my girl smelling spicy, soapy, and woody. That doesn't really get me going, guys. So I don't know about you, but I like my girl to smell floral, sweet, fruity, etc. So yeah, this is a masculine leaning fragrance through and through, but at the end of the day, if you are a lady watching this one, maybe you like the Born in Roma line, you could try it out, even though I also do have a Donna Born in Roma Extradose that my girl wears, and I love that one. That's actually much better release than this one for the men. So if you're a lady watching this one, check that one out. You might prefer it. Obviously, it is of course targeted towards ladies as well. That is much more complex, a little bit more going on compared to this one, which is unfortunately a little bit basic. For age groups, this is definitely a youthful fragrance as well. I can actually probably picture somebody like in their late teens going to high school wearing this one, probably getting attention, etc. Just because it does smell clean, spicy, it doesn't really smell bad. Just for somebody like me, I expected a little bit more. It's not a bad smelling fragrance at all. just kind of does smell like a department store, like going into Macy's, which is great for the younger guys out there. So I would say if you're anybody like 30s and below, this would probably suit you the best. If you're somebody a little bit older and mature, I don't think you would really enjoy this one. Heck, I'm starting to get up there in age as well, and my taste has definitely changed a lot. But hey, doesn't matter if you are like 40s, 50s and up and you like this fragrance, rock it like without any hesitation, because fragrances don't have age groups. Of course, I'm just trying to paint you guys the absolute best picture possible when reviewing these. And in my head, immediately goes to the youthful crowd with Born in Roma Extradose. Now, when it comes to the performance of this one, of course you expect it to perform good being an extrait. On the upside and downside, it does perform pretty good. I did get up to that 12-hour mark of longevity, but the downside with that, guys, is you're gonna be left with that basic generic woody base for like 75% of the longevity of it. So once you spray this one on, you're gonna have to be determined and committed to it for the whole day pretty much. So make sure you like the base of this one before wearing it, trust me, because it's hard to get off, because like I said, it does perform like an extrait, which is very respectable, and that's kind of what I expect from a performance flanker like Extradose. Probably the best performer compared to the other two as well. And when it comes to the projection, I thought this one was actually pretty loud. I don't know what it is about it, but it does push off the skin very heavy, guys, for a few hours even. So it's very pleasant in the opening. I want everybody around me to smell that nice kind of spicy, seductive opening that this gives off, and they will, trust me, even probably across the room, because it does, like I said, push off heavy. But even as it dries down with the soapy lavender and that woody base, it still pushes off the skin very, very much. So it's not an intimate projector, it's not even a moderate projector, it's a pretty loud projector with Extradose. So at least it lives up to that name, guys. I just wish they did something a little bit more in the base of this one to make it a little bit more enjoyable and just not so simple, pretty much is how I would describe it. Very, very simple dry down. But hey, still a decent release that does perform well. I just think it is a little bit too basic for probably a lot of people watching this, to be honest with you, because I'm sure if you're subscribed to me, you're probably more so a fragrance enthusiast and know about fragrances and have experienced so many. And if that's you, you might be let down by this one. But if you're watching this one, you just want something that smells pretty decent, smells good, probably will get you compliments, and you are a little bit younger, I think it's gonna suit you perfectly. Just for me, guys, I was expecting a little bit more from Extradose, to be honest. And I think the king for me still is the intense flanker. But that's gonna do it for my review of the brand new Uomo Born in Roma Extradose. Let me know down below if you're a fan of the Born in Roma line, which is your favorite, and if you got your nose on this one, what are your thoughts? And if you agree with me, I'm very curious about that. So leave a comment below and we'll discuss that. But besides that, leave a like, subscribe if you guys haven't already, and of course, you already know I'll catch all of you back here in my next upload. Take care, everybody.